Welcome back. It is another episode of Pardon the Punctuation, and I am Aaron Smith, joined, as always, by my two compadres. The self-proclaimed best producer in the city, Ed Mayhall, and one half of the Bearcat Brunch, Jeff Howell.
What's up, guys?
What's going on?
You made it right as we were doing intros. Well done.
I try to be right on time.
Punctual, if anything.
Yeah, something like that.
Fair enough.
I like this whole getup you got going on, Aaron.
Oh, thanks. It's a new jacket. I got it for Christmas.
Is that one of the starter ones?
No, it's just a zip up. It's I don't know. It's not starter.
Is that a beanie on top of a hat, or is that like a beanie hat with a bill?
No, it's like one of
No, Aaron's very well known for beanie hats.
Nope, just a beanie hat.
I like it.
Thanks. One of little short bills.
Solid. All right, what we got on deck today?
How's your how's your week been?
It's been very long, and some things we can get into in the after show.
Fair enough.
Oh, jeez.
Ed?
Oh, yes, he does love beanie hats. I mean, yeah, it's been great. I mean, I spent all afternoon trying to find a generator. Finally found one. I just got to put it together.
You have to put it together.
We got to put the wheels on it and shit.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The handles, yeah.
Is that a Karis shirt?
Oh, yeah, Karis 316. All right. Aaron, you have to take care of that for a second.
Is that a shirt that's available, or is that an Ed Mayhall one-off?
No, Cincy Shirts had it. I was in there getting something for parents for...
Whatever. We can skip over talking about that.
Nice to talk to you too, bud.
Well, because Bearcat Journal is sponsored by another t-shirt company.
I know, but you asked me where I got it.
No, I just asked if it was a one-off special.
Could have been, I guess.
I think everybody in the house is getting sick here, so that's super fun right before Christmas. So,
yeah, Parker started coughing today, so we'll see what happens there.
Excellent.
Not good.
Well, we got plenty to get to before we get to the Bengals here, which is probably going to be my favorite thing to talk about this week. But yeah, we got the Wasabi Fenway Bowl that we need to get into so we can get out of it and move on.
Do we have to talk about that?
How long do we have to talk about it?
Can we direct them to Sunday morning?
We can talk about this quickly, and then we can move on to some roster stuff and staff stuff if you'd rather. But God, are we just skip it? UCF super fans.
He doesn't want to relive it.
Me either. It was. I feel like I had to spend 4 hours of my life that I can never get back watching it, though. So I'll give it its due. So Cincinnati drops the Wasabi Fenway Bowl 24-7 to the Louisville Cardinals. The keg of empty was on the line because there are not really any nails in it, which seems like a waste of everyone's time. I don't know why they would not actually put nails in it.
Because somebody would be shaking it and they would just start coming out of it somewhere. And
Ed, I think your paperweight weighs more than what the actual keg of nails weighs.
They were throwing it right over their heads, weren't they? I think it was. It's probably pretty super light, made out of styrofoam, possibly. Well, it's maybe sitting on it. So,
I don't know.
UCF fan says, "I was the idiot that kept watching, thinking they'll figure out a way to pull it out." Yeah, they never had a shot.
Yeah, I did tweet at halftime. Does anybody know if Kenyon's in Boston right now?
I don't know how much that would help.
I think they needed a lot more than that.
Yeah,
but it was dreadful. It was dreadful to watch. Prater was not good.
No.
The offense was not good.
The offensive line was not good.
The defense was not good.
Well, so we say that, but there was only a couple plays. They were key plays. but there was only like a couple times where they were like really, really bad, right?
I mean, that's any football game, though, right? Like any
40,
football,
like the ones like a 49-yard. I mean, that was kind of I think that right there was like the nail in the coffin early on with they get the ball right there at like the 49-yard line and just rip off a touchdown run. You're like, was anybody even playing defense on that side of the field?
No, I don't think so.
no. Jeff, what was your if you had to find any silver linings, what silver linings did you find in this game?
Silver linings.
They were all there for each other.
They scored 7.
I mean,
everyone was on the same sideline.
Yeah, and there was no fights that we saw. I mean, I guess there were some tweets that there was like like the smack talk going on, whatever. Like,
sure,
that's gonna happen.
I put nothing into that.
I don't know. Like, it's hard to like find anything. You go down like Ivan Pace, 16 tackles, 7 solo, a sack, and tackle for loss. Like there you go. Like there's your your guy. And I don't want to even like Dave and I kind of talked about it on Sunday. Like, I don't even want to say anything truly negative about him. I mean, you got to think like, regardless, these are 18, 19, 20, in some case like 40-year-old guys that are back on their 9th year or whatever. But like, they're college football players. They had their world rocked not more than 2 weeks ago. Granted, both sides, Louisville a little closer to game time, so they both went through that. But UC had like nobody on offense left outside of Corey Kiner. I mean, I guess they had a couple running backs, but without an offensive line to really move anybody because they were moving no one.
Ethan Wright had a decent game. The
Louisville defense was up front as advertised. I mean, they tackles for loss, sacks. They get after the quarterback. They cause mayhem. And when you have a quarterback who's in his second start of his entire career, and he doesn't really have, there was no like safety blanket. Like, there was no Josh Wiley to dump the ball off to. There was no Lenny Taylor right there. Not that they used their tight ends much all year anyway, but there was nothing like that to kind of kick the ball out to. And he was like running for his life a lot and not doing it very well. So I don't know that you find any true silver lining for like going forward. Like, it's a scrimmage. It's a glorified scrimmage
pretty much
at this point. I mean, all these bowl games are. You got kids opting out. I think I read today there's like 1,500 kids in the portal right now. Like if you're not playing for a playoff, if you're not in a playoff spot, I mean, even in some of those teams got guys that are opting out. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like for me, it was the silver linings as Eric points out in the chat here. The kick returning was good. Drew Donnelly actually looked like
I'm glad he brings that up.
A good returner. That didn't fall off with all the receivers not playing.
I lied because he had five returns for 119 yards. He had a lot. Yeah. So there you go. Thanks, Eric. I was so blinded by my disgust from this game that I forgot about Drew Donnelly. He's my guy, so that's on me.
And Ethan Wright, I mean, he had 5 carries for 43 yards, 5.4 per.
8
carries. I'm sorry, 8 carries for 43 yards, 5.4 per. Goodness. But Prater just looked uncomfortable.
Yeah, he didn't. I mean,
obviously
good.
You're running 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th string receivers out there. You have 3rd and 4th string tight ends out there. You have. I said this earlier, and I know Chad didn't like it, but I didn't feel like they looked like they even wanted to play.
So that's what I was going to bring up. Like from the beginning, it didn't even. I don't know if it was 11 because of the 11 o'clock start or whatever, but it just. I saw no energy at all. Like, and there didn't even feel like there was energy coming from the stands. Like,
well, there was nobody in the stands for one.
That was the other part, right? There was nobody in the stands. I felt no energy. It felt like a spring scrimmage game.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's a glorified scrimmage. And like, I don't want to like.
I don't want to say the players didn't put effort in, but
like bash them or anything. I don't know that it had anything to do with like not wanting to be there. I just think John actually brings up, I guess Chad was talking about there being a talent gap. I don't know. I think the ceiling of the guys that were out there for UC was what it was, and Louisville was able to take advantage of the fact that they knew that they were very thin on offense. They didn't have a strong offensive line. Louisville has hung their hat on causing havoc in the backfield for the majority of their year, and at the expense of giving up big plays. And UC didn't have anybody available to make big plays.
UCF Superfan says, to be fair, he had 0.2 seconds to get rid of it at times. He didn't look comfortable the week before either.
Yeah.
No,
and maybe
or
that's
not the week before, the game before, however long.
Yeah,
2-3 weeks ago, whatever.
I mean, maybe that's something that develops. But also, he's been there 4 years now.
He's not a true freshman. He's not a redshirt freshman. I guess technically he's a redshirt freshman, but yeah, he's been there for a while.
I mean, I saw that as well. UCF superfan. He's saying that some Louisville fans were out there saying that UC players were telling U of L players they didn't want Satterfield as their coach. I kind of find that a little bit hard to believe, as there really wasn't a whole. I mean, there were some guys that entered the portal. Maybe I guess there's probably 10 of them in the portal now, or something, 5, 6 of them, something like that in the portal. But
yeah, it was Caleb Chandler who tweeted that, and I don't know how much I take in.
I mean, you've still got dudes that are. Yeah. You had dudes that stayed. You've got seniors who are committed to playing in some senior games.
The only player who's right now left that played in that game is Will Pauling.
Here's the thing. These guys, these UC players have maybe met Satterfield twice for a total of 8 minutes.
Yeah.
And they know they hate him because of that, and they're telling the Louisville players, we hate Scott Satterfield. Get the fuck out of here. It's so ridiculous.
That was my point, and Chad came in and made it very eloquently. So I don't know, like I said it on Sunday, you're really not going to take a lot out of this. I give a lot of credit to the dudes that decided that they were going to stick around after. I mean, you got a coach that leaves. I mean, that's the perfect time, right? The coach leaves. That's a perfect time for you to be like, you're not in a conference championship game. You're not looking at going to NY6. You're not looking at going to the playoff. Perfect time for dudes to pack it in and be like, I'm hitting the portal. I'm going to the NFL. Whatever. Those are kind of the two options. Or I'm ending my career. I don't see the NFL as an option, and I'm not going to, put my health on the line. I'm in good shape. I'm not going to put my health on the line for one more game. It doesn't mean anything, whatever. But you had a group of dudes that stuck it out. Regardless, obviously it didn't end the way they wanted it to end, but they got one more game with their boys in college. And for some of them, that's the last time that they're going to play. They're not going to get a chance in the CFL or the NFL or wherever. They're going to go on and do whatever professional career that they move into after college. And so for that, give those guys all the credit in the world for coming back and trying to give it one more go and get another win. Obviously, we didn't get to 10 wins, and that kind of sucks, but it is what it is. It's time to move forward into, signing day starts tomorrow. Signing day is tomorrow, or starts tomorrow. You start signing tomorrow. So we'll see which guys.
I was the first person to report Will Pauling was in the transfer portal, Kathy. Yeah, we're aware.
So that was the point of me bringing up Will Pauling's name, though, as Kathy says here, Will Pauling is in the transfer portal. But like I said, he's the only one who has entered the transfer portal since the bowl game that could have been saying, we hate Scott Satterfield. We don't want him to be our coach. You can do something about it. You can leave. So I don't know.
Also, and they kept bringing this up during the game. Their defensive coordinator, did he really look like Triple H? Because I really don't feel like he did.
No,
He
not
looked
at all.
nothing
He didn't
like
look
Triple
like-
H.
He didn't look like him at all.
Not
That
at all.
was a weird thing that I don't even know why.
And then for Triple H to retweet it, like I couldn't tell if I was looking in the mirror or not. Like,
I think he was making a joke, but
that was the joke went over your head.
oh, okay.
so
Well, that's on me then. But no, he did
so-
not look like Triple H.
all right, and we got what Dorian Jones. I guess that was on the 12th. Or I guess maybe
He committed today.
today. He entered the portal on the 12th. Got it.
He committed to Cincinnati today. He is a linebacker from Louisville. Scott Satterfield's first recruit, I believe Chad said, but he 13 games last year.
First Louisville recruit.
Right.
It was the first guy that committed to him when he went to Louisville.
From Louisville.
13 games last season, 20 tackles, 34 tackles, 20 solo, 6.5 for a loss, 3 sacks, 2 fumble recoveries, a forced fumble. Obviously, when you have Will Huber leaving, you have Ty Van Fosten leaving, you potentially have Ivan Pace leaving as well. I know that there's still a door open there if he wants to come back. You have to start reloading, and it's good to get guys that you're comfortable with. Chad and I touched on this during the nightcap tonight, but you bring a guy like this in, and you have a guy who has been around your culture as long as he's been in college. And I think that's where you have to start. You have to start bringing in leaders that understand what is the Scott Satterfield culture, because it's not necessarily going to be the same as what Luke Fickell's culture was. And so you have to start meshing the existing culture with where you want the culture to go. And I think that this is a good start.
I agree with that. The other guy, I think did he commit today or yesterday? Trevor, and I'm never gonna say his name right. Radisovich. I guess he came from Penn, interior offensive lineman.
Yes,
they
believe he's going to be center. Is what
center?
Everybody believes that he's going to end up being here as a center. Radosevich, I believe.
Radosevich. And that goes towards kind of what Dave and I have discussed over the last few weeks. So like you see needing to go out and get some dudes that are have tape in college, have not a bunch of freshman linemen, even though they could come in as big dudes. Like this is a big dude that has played, and he's got an awesome mustache.
Of course, that's what you like.
He's 6'4", 290. That's a big boy right there.
But it's also good to see them. We know that offensive line has been an Achilles heel this season, and to see them make offensive linemen the first 2 moves in the transfer portal before bringing in Dorian Jones today. I like seeing the action on the offensive line and hope that continues along, as I think there's still going to be plenty of holes to fill as this portal continues past signing day and what have you. So it'll be interesting to see what moves are made tomorrow on signing day if the class grows from 9, where it currently sits at number 8 in the AAC, which I don't even know where that would rank in the. I can find out where that would rank in the Big 12, but 82 overall. We didn't used to be 82 overall.
No, we were a lot higher than that.
Yep.
But yeah, Matt Landon.
We do need a lot of wide receiver help, especially Will Pauling leaving as the only slot receiver on the roster. Really, that's a curious move when it was all the reps were yours. So I don't know. Not having
Drew Donnelly's Drew Donnelly's a wide receiver. He was recruited as a wide receiver. He's got. I mean, he is another 4.29 guy.
Not a slot guy though.
No. I'm just.
I know you.
Speed.
You were enamored.
Receiver.
You were enamored with Drew Donnelly. You have been.
Well, yes, I was very excited that he's coming here, and he's very fast. And his mom follows me on Twitter. Shout out.
What a weirdo you are.
That was kind of a weird shout out, but I'm here. Are you drinking wine tonight?
I am. Good.
Nice
Good for your
Merlot.
body.
Doing a
Good for your
show
body.
event. It's strange.
It's a nice
Well,
Merlot.
We're gonna have to have a discussion about that too now, Aaron. Way to go. Mark that one down. Call me Brent.
That's fine.
End up in
Don't tell me
Wisconsin.
what to do. I also would have
Lubbock.
never taken Jeff as a wine guy, John. This is a first. So
I know Aaron drinks wine.
I haven't drank wine in a while.
You used to drink that Snoop
Since,
Dogg
like-
wine, right?
I've not since
Dabbled?
we did the
You
live
dabbled?
show. I did
Hmm.
I did 2 bottles of Snoop Dogg wine in one night, and that was all bad.
Jeff says his mom follows me, then sips his wine.
Do we have anything else to add to the Wasabi Fenway Bowl conversation? Obviously we want to see an OC, whoever the OC ends up being coming here.
Strength
I
coach.
imagine
Did they hire one of those yet? That I missed.
hasn't been
No.
Check out.
hiring of a strength coach yet.
Hold on, I'll check out Stewie's chart.
But yeah, still some hirings, still some bowl games to be played. So we will not see what happens for a little while. But
ECF super fan. Hopefully we hire Lou Ferrigno.
how close is that? What?
How is this going off the rails already? We're
I
21
don't know.
minutes in.
I don't
Back
know.
on track, Aaron.
You got the wine out, and it's how it happening.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
Hmm.
Jeff Wino, how?
Not even in the least. Just tastes good.
All right, let's talk some Cincinnati hoops. Since the last time we chatted, what was that noise?
That's me doing the blow up so Steven's dog
Oh.
would wake up.
Cincinnati wins over Miami since the last time we talked, 103-76, and LaSalle 78-60. Ed, I know you have lived and died Cincinnati hoops your whole life. What have you seen in these improved victories by margins of, the first time they hit the century mark against Miami in the throwback Cats unis, what was it, 27?
Ordered one of those, by the way.
Yeah, 27 points there, and then 16 points against LaSalle. How you feeling right now about the hoops team?
Really, really feeling good about DeJulius, Nollies, and Nolly. Sorry. If
pulled
he
a Kevin
says it, it's
Johnson.
gonna get stuck in my head. If
He
he
pulled
says
a
it, it's
Kevin
gonna get
Johnson.
when he says it, it gets stuck in my head.
Landers Nollies, Landers Nollies,
Nollies.
Landers Nollies, Nollies.
Yeah, all of them guys. And Victor Lockton. It's nice to have a big guy down below again.
Did you locked in on purpose, or did you mean lock in?
No, I've always been saying locked in.
All right, just wanted to
I
make
remember
sure.
the tweets. You might say that he's locked in.
All right.
All right. It's nice to have that big guy down below that we can count on for those putback rebounds, just to dump the ball down to below and get that shot. I'm really enjoying that again. The Miami game kind of made me nervous, with the whole contract extension. Like that's all we needed, right? Was him to get a contract extension and then come out and
Then
not
lose to
beat
Travis
Miami.
Steele.
Yeah, lose to Travis Steele of all people again. So it was a great game. I thought both sides of the court. Nice seeing Sage get in there and play a little bit again. You got to see Kalu a little bit at the end, and then quickly Kalu went back to the bench.
What did you think in that Miami game of Miami's forward Anderson Marambo?
I couldn't tell you if I remembered that guy at all.
He was a guy who came to Miami at 390 pounds.
Oh, I do remember that guy now.
Yeah.
I feel like it gave me faith that I could possibly still make a basketball team. If you remember, we kind of talked to those guys at the Cincinnati Warriors, remember? And they said they'd give me a contract. Actually, I think they said to give me a security T-shirt.
Yeah, they didn't say they'd give you a contract.
Yeah, they definitely said a security T-shirt.
He's listed at 305. But yeah, that's a dude.
That's a big old dude.
That's a dude.
That's like 2 Micah Adams Woods put together. But I mean, yeah, Miami game was great. You could tell at halftime of that game that, I mean, anybody who watched the halftime interview with Wes could tell that he wasn't happy with something. And so he went back in the locker room, yelled at him for something. It was probably defense. There was a couple of times they didn't get back on defense. Everybody who said he was sick, I don't think that was it. But
I also don't think that was it.
I also think there was stress on him to win that game after getting that contract extension.
Sure.
So that was just probably part of it.
Raised expectations when you double your contract or double your salary.
Yeah. And I will say, for the lower bowl guys, I think I saw about 3 or 4 guys actually celebrating during that game. So I made note of that in my notes as well. Other than that, man, I just thought it was a great game, and it was good to have that win. First, is that our first triple-digit win? I know it's our first one against Miami since whatever you said before, but it's our first triple-digit game in a couple seasons, right?
Wasn't a triple-digit win. That would mean that you won by over 100.
Sorry, triple-digit score.
It was definitely the first one of this season anyway. I didn't go back to check last season.
We got close earlier this year with like 90-something.
Yes.
But,
yeah, it was good to see him. Good to see him hit that mark. And then in the LaSalle game, I don't know. I mean, you saw it was that was a weird. I was out of the flow as far as sports go after having watched the Fenway Bowl. I joked about it last night. I had like a sports hangover after watching the horrendous Fenway Bowl and then having to watch the basketball game. But you watched both yourself as well. So you finished 5 guys in double digits.
Yeah.
But it just never really felt like they were going to like put their foot all the way on the gas in this game.
I didn't know if that
they continued to let LaSalle back in a little bit here and there.
Yeah, and I didn't know if that had anything to do with there was at least it seemed like on TV, a very sparse crowd at that game. I think people were probably still out at the bars watching, well, maybe drinking at that point, their woes away from the Wasabi Bowl. But
it's also Christmas break, so you're
Christmas
not going to have students
fans there. Yeah, it just didn't feel like a lot of energy in that game either. But you did say, 5 guys in double digits, which is nice to see. Again, Landers Nolly, David DeJulius, Victor Lockton was 17. Daniel Skilling stepping up. I didn't understand the phantom technical call at one point, but Daniel Skilling stepping up, getting 6. I think we're starting to see him emerge from his cocoon a little bit, which will be really nice to see going into conference play.
John said UC was minus 14 and we covered.
Oh,
so fair enough.
That's fair. Yeah. You got to see. No, did Zip? Yeah, he played like 4. He played a little bit in that game too, but again, sat on the bench. Hensley,
like 3 minutes.
Hensley had some nice blocks at some point. I thought he hustled pretty well in that game, which I was excited about. I like the hustle. So I mean, good game.
He finished with 1 block.
Did he have 1 block?
That's what he's listed at least on ESPN.
He was another hustle play, like out of bounds or something that I'm thinking of. Or maybe it was. How many blocks did he have in the Miami game? Was that 2?
Let me check.
You're thinking of Skillings. He had like 3 blocks.
Okay.
Yeah, he had a couple, like the guys kept trying to take jump shots over him in the like mid-range right at about 15 feet. And Dan just kept like, quit trying that shit on me.
That's it. Yep. That's it. I remember because that was when the phantom technical call came out.
Hensley had 1 block in each game for whatever that's worth.
All right. No, Chad's right. It was Skillings because I remember in my head now that the phantom technical came after that. But another good game. I mean, who do we have next on the schedule? We're starting to get into league play pretty soon, right?
Detroit Mercy.
Okay. All right. That's another. Hopefully. stay on the same
Cincinnati
track
is
game.
favored 83.2% on according to ESPN Analytics, and the spread is listed on ESPN at -13
on their Horizon League. So we know how we did against the Horizon League already this year. We're 1-1 against them. Oh no, yeah, 1-1 against them.
Yeah, Cleveland State and NKU.
Yeah, Cleveland State and NKU. Detroit Mercy, huh? Are they going to make it down here with all that snow? Tomorrow, I guess.
How much snow is expected in Cincy?
Not a lot in Cincy, but I heard. I think most of it's supposed to be focused up there in the Michigan area.
North, all right.
Yeah. They may not make it home, but they can enjoy Christmas here, I guess. And then we get into Tulane, Temple, Wichita. So that's when we start the league play. I haven't really looked at their scores, their records yet. Houston sitting at number 3. That's not going to be fun.
No, UCF superfan says we're going to need to score 140 to beat Houston.
Probably going to need to score a little bit more than 140. You're correct. That's probably we're going to need a triple-digit win in that one.
Maybe.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
What?
I hopefully they're on the right trajectory. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Hopefully they're on the right trajectory. I can't say it twice. I don't even know why I tried. And that'll hopefully, build up some confidence, build up some energy going into the league play. I expect Victor will still continue his upward trend. I expect Nolly will start his upward or continue his upward trend.
How fun has it been to watch Vic just through his progression this season? We haven't had a guy that has developed right in front of our eyes like this.
From a guy who played the first game because of how much hustle he put in, that was the reason why he got the start, right? At least that we were told by Wes Miller, because of how much hustle he put in during the season, or during the off season, all the practices, all that kind of stuff, and he took that chance and ran with it. You got to love that.
Yeah, he's certainly emerged as a leader on this team, both through what he does, and you can just see emotionally he's out there as much as anybody, if not more than everybody. Yeah. So that's been just a lot of fun to watch. You mentioned Wes Miller's contract extension. The details came out on that today.
I get to read that yet.
So then I'll have to find the actual details on that. But I have seen some people overreacting in regards to his contract.
I think they explained it pretty well during the Miami game. You gotta, if you're a coach playing in the Big 12, you want to get paid what a coach playing in the Big 12 gets paid. And while the players may not look at it, I think definitely players, the recruits, parents will look at it as, or even recruits or, recruiters from other schools will be like, do you really want to go to that team? Their coach isn't even getting paid what, the lowest guy in our league makes. He'll probably skip soon. So I think, there were some reasons on why that had to be done.
We know that it was extended through the 28-29 season, where it tops out at 3.4. Right now it's going to be, as of January 1, moving up to 2.5, then 2.55 in April, 2.6. 2.55 in April 1st of 23, 2.6 April 1st of 24, 3.1 April of 25, 3.2 April of 26, 3.3 April of 27, 3.4 of April of 28. As for buyouts, if he is terminated by the university before March 31, 23, it's $18.15 million. Before March 31, 24, it's $15.6 million. 25, March of 25, it's $13 million. March of 26, 9.9. March of 27, 4.69. March of 28, $1 million. And March of 29, $500,000. Now, if he is bought out to leave UC, before March 31 of 23, 24, and 25, it's $10 million every one of those 3 years. In 26, it's 5 million, 27, 2.5 million, 28, 500,000, and 29. There is no buyout. So that answers your question, John White, in the chat.
Man, Wes being single with no wife and kids, he is the highest paid coach in the NCAA. It's true.
Don't have to share it with anybody.
You have to share it with a single person.
So clearly, John Cunningham has tied himself to Wes Miller.
Yeah, he recruited him. That was his first. That was his first. Was his first coaching signing.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you got to stand by your first one, right? Especially when you're maybe criticized a little bit by your second one.
Satterfield has been here for like a week. You can't criticize him.
Well, I'm not saying I'm criticizing, but other fans are criticizing.
There's
him.
nothing to criticize him for. He hasn't even done anything. He's still putting together a staff. He's still putting together a. There's nothing to be criticized yet. What are you
I'm in the same boat as you on that one, but you know
that's just bananas to me that people are even like, what are you going to criticize? Like, well, he's only gotten 2 interior offensive linemen and a linebacker so far. Okay,
do you want to get?
There's some people that don't have anybody from the transfer portal yet. You know, he lost a couple of these guys. Okay, well, that's what happens when your recruiting coach follows the head coach that used to be here. Louisville didn't have that problem. They still have their recruiting coach.
Yep.
So I don't know. I mean, I don't think you can criticize Satterfield yet. If you're going to criticize Satterfield already, it's because you just don't like him.
And I mean, history shows guys with the last name of Satterfield do pretty well here in Cincinnati.
Are you just referring to Kenny?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's history, and it shows it.
I hate you.
Like, don't hate me. I'm just throwing facts out there.
Are you surprised though to see that the first 3 years, if he goes anywhere, that the buyout is $10 million? So essentially, good luck buying him out in those first 3 years.
What was Fickle's buyout? Although he was just re-signed second March.
That's a whole different sport.
I know it is, but
one of these things is not like the other.
All right then. I mean, yeah. I mean, if Carolina ever opens up again, you got to make sure you get that money back.
I just don't see North Carolina buying out anybody at $10 million just to buy him out and then have to give him I mean, you're only paying the guy $3 million a year. You're going to buy as North Carolina, you're going to buy him out at $10 million. I mean, they just made the finals.
We've seen crazier things happen. I mean, look, the Browns have Deshaun Watson.
I don't understand you.
But it's very good comparison.
This passive aggressive podcasting it's something that I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it, but the internet's saying that Wes Miller is under the. I'm not saying it, but I'm just saying.
I defend Wes Miller at all times.
Say it with your fucking chest, Ed. You got something to say? Say it with your chest, Ed. Say it.
I'm always defending Wes Miller. Constantly. I just defend him against the crosstown shootout.
You're aggressively attacking him and then defending him.
No, not me. I would never do such a thing.
All in all, though, I like the extension of Wes Miller. I think it was important that they got that done. And I don't know. It creates longevity with the program. It creates stability, and it's going to give him an opportunity to bring in his guys, build a culture, and really see what Wes Miller is all about.
I'm here for it. I'm all here. I don't care what Chad says. I'm all here for the Wes Miller era. I'm here for the next 15 years. Sign him for the next 15 years. I'm here for it. As a matter of fact, I don't have his autograph yet. I need to get his autographed. Chad, if you're looking for a Christmas present for me, there you go.
You know my favorite tweet, Ed? Is the response with the piss off, like in the windows on the building.
Yeah, on the skyscraper with the
That one.
Okay, so gotcha. All right.
Keith asks, with the at-large bid basically over, do you think we'll see more and more of the young guys moving forward?
Why are you being silent?
I'm just asking you.
I mean, sure, probably.
You're on mute. You're mute, Chad.
I think you'll see Wes continue to play the players he thinks give him the best chance to win. If that continuously includes
younger players,
Josh Reed and Dan Skillings, then it continuously and increasingly includes Dan Skillings and Josh Reed, because guess what? Those two dudes are really good.
Yeah, and if you look at the chart, they're going like this, up. So they're not going down, they're going up.
Thanks for the visual aid of the line chart. Yeah. No,
Chad doesn't like me tonight.
What I've seen out of Skillings, what I've seen out of Reed, I think it's hard to keep them off the court right now. Like, who's going to be a better, like, who would you give the extra minutes to over Skillings and Reed?
I can't think of anybody else. You're not going to give it to Zach Pay. You're not going to give it.
Correct.
Yeah. No, give it to them because they're the future of this team.
I haven't seen Hensley do enough offensively to give him more minutes.
No. He does spurts in games. He has flashes in games, but it hasn't been consistent. So
yeah. So I don't know.
I also like super fans saying that he does deserve $1 million simply because he got a guy named Jizzle to come here.
His name is Edgerrin James Jr., which is still impressive.
I actually have a running joke with the soccer dads that once Jizzle does start here at the Bearcats, I'm going to get a jersey that says Jizzle on the back of it.
Well, I know where you get your jerseys, so that wouldn't surprise me.
I did order that Cats jersey. I can't wait for it to get here.
Yeah, what number did you end up going with?
Number 4, Martin.
Yeah. You know how many times he wore that jersey?
0. I know.
Right.
Look, I know. I understand that. And I had a hard yeah, but who else was I going to get? Like they still had a Saunders. They still had Saunders in the list. So yeah, that tells you who I had to pick from.
All right. We could see Edgerrin James at games. He was at a football game this year, UCF super fan. So I would certainly think he'd be there at some point.
I'm pretty sure he has the money to catch a flight. He's going to be all right on the travel expenses department.
He's a Hall of Famer.
Does Edgerrin have any interest in being a college football coach?
Oh, Ed. He's a Hall of Famer. No.
How would you like to coach at the school where your son goes? Not saying head coach. I'm saying on the staff. This is not passive-aggressive podcasting here.
All right. John asks, he says, I hate to say it, but Hensley has a ceiling. I think we're pretty much seeing what he'll be. You think he set his ceiling? Where he's just hustle guy, glue guy, but not actually like doing a ton offensively, or does he still have room to improve?
Might have a little bit more room to improve. I'd like to be able to see him as a guy who we can count on come off the bench to give, some guys a breath and not lose the lead. I would like to see that. I think he could be a nice role player.
He is pretty tall, so it's very possible he hit the ceiling.
Yeah, that's good.
Dad joke. Good Lord.
I don't
know. I think he still has some room to improve.
Yeah.
Obviously, if he can put in a couple more off seasons like he did this year, maybe start hitting some deeper shots and have confidence to take the deeper shots, as opposed to, I feel like he drives all the time, Hensley.
All right.
Do you disagree?
I don't know that a guy like Hensley is who you want taking deep shots, but
you want to be able to stretch the floor.
That's fair. Bring up a good point there.
I don't know. You just don't want to be one-dimensional where you're just driving.
Did I tell you I'm a basketball coach now?
Oh, God. Yeah, I think you did put it in.
Yeah. Assistant Coach Ed over here. K1. We're going to be pressing. all the time.
Those poor kids.
Yeah, I know. We're hoping Jeff makes it back. Apparently, he had a kid emergency, so we are hoping to see him rejoin us at some point.
Thank you, super fan.
We're not getting Edgerrin James on football staff and Kenyon Martin on basketball staff.
I think super fan's one of my favorite guys right now.
Why? Like,
thank you, T. Gwen. Prime is Hall of Fame coach, and he's coaching football. Aaron.
Prime is the exception, not the rule.
Why can't he be the beginning?
I'll believe it when I see it.
I'm not saying it's gonna happen. I'm just saying, hey.
All too often you see guys from the NBA, from the NFL try their hand at coaching, and it's just like, oh, I didn't realize this was going to be an all-year thing where I can't take vacation or like do things. Like,
we're not all Jeff Saturday.
We'll see if that guy sticks around too.
Not after
Saturday. Not after a 33-point. Just they shot down their leg.
Let Kenyon work remotely.
That doesn't even make sense. Get it out of here.
Quit pressing the button then. I'm the producer, not you. This is not the other shows. This is my show.
All right.
Moving on.
In any case, yeah, I think it's time to move on. The Cincinnati Bengals beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 34-23. This was my favorite game of the weekend by a landslide. I love to see Tom Brady lose. I love to see the Bengals win. And I got to see both happen at the same time, especially after the hole it felt like the Bengals had dug themselves in the first half. And what do you think the turning point of the game was?
Halftime.
You think it was halftime?
Yeah. I mean, they scored 3 going into halftime. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that gives you a little, I guess a little bit of confidence. I mean, at that point, it was 16
that drive.
3.
That drive is where I think was the turning point, right before halftime.
Yeah. And it was quick too. Like it was very well. It was very well put together. Like get down the field drive. I mean, it was pass catch, pass catch, pass catch. That was a little. The running back was it Joe Mixon who caught it? And that last one didn't go out of bounds. He tried to go up the field.
They got the ball with 1:39 left on the clock, and they scored 3 that quickly.
Yeah.
And you go in rather than being down 17-0 at half, you're down 2 scores. Tampa Bay gets the ball back in the. What are you giggling about?
Superfan says, "Thank goodness that Gio still plays for us."
But you go in, you get the ball back. Tampa Bay gets the ball at the beginning of the second half. You end up getting the ball back from them. Oh, you're back. You made it for Bengals talk. We just started.
You're on mute.
What do you think the turning point was before I get into what happened?
Turning point in the football game, the Bengals and the Buccaneers.
Only fun game to watch this week.
Fun game that happened this weekend.
Yes.
100% the final drive of the first half.
That's what we were saying.
Yep. Good.
So
we're all on the same page.
It was kind of an extended turning point, right? You score. Granted, it's only a field goal.
Right.
Reduces it to, what was it, 17-3 at that point?
16-3 at the point.
Correct.
Oh, 17-3. Sorry.
17-3. Right. There's no 1 point.
Yeah.
Thing.
Sorry.
Well, maybe there is. There probably is. Somebody's probably going to correct me. So you get that, and then you come out.
Oh, never mind.
You come out in the start of the second half. The Bucks get the ball, right? And you really haven't been able to stop them too much. And now you get them the turnover on downs. Granted, it came on a very strange play, but you were getting the ball, right? It was a 3 and out. You were going to get a punt. Maybe, I guess it could have been a fake, whatever. It turned out not to work in their favor. And I think that series of events of going into halftime on hey, look, we were able to move the ball down the field because 2-minute Joe is the best Joe there is. Move them down the field, field goal, go into halftime, come back out. Defense is ready to go, 3 and out. And then the landslide of only having to play 20-yard football started.
Well, let's go back to that real quick. You said 2-minute Joe is the best Joe there is. I mean, he did look so comfortable in that 2-minute drive. Like he's been doing that all his life in the NFL. Like obviously he was a really good quarterback in college, but it's like he does that in his sleep.
2-minute Joe is the best Joe.
Yeah, I agree. It was great.
I guess if you had told me that we would end up winning 34-23 while ending up with a grand total of 200 and what was the total yardage? 237 yards.
237 compared to 396.
I would not have believed you.
I mean, that's what happens when you start with the ball on the 20-yard line on every drive.
3 times.
because you're
strip sacks.
Okay, so you've got what? You had the Giovanni Bernard, like, I don't know if it's a fake punt mess up.
Gio doesn't know either.
So you got that one.
It's his fault.
It's his fault.
Blame
it was
25.
his fault. Then there was the bad exchange where Brady flat out let go of the ball before he put it in. I don't even know who the running back was at that point, but he flat out let go of the ball before the mesh point, whatever you want to call it. That was on Brady. Couple of interceptions.
Nick, thank you for the donation. We appreciate it. Go ahead, Jeff.
Sorry, Jeff.
Oh, I'll be done there.
Nick just says,
long time listener.
We need Hubbard and Hendrickson back for the Bills. I agree. We do need Hubbard and Hendrickson back for the Bills.
I saw a thing today. Hendrickson was back, at least in a jersey, for like walkthrough stuff.
Put him in a club.
I would assume he could probably get a club. I think Hubbard's probably done until the playoffs.
I'd imagine so.
At least from what they're kind of putting out there. I mean, it's a calf thing. If it's anything similar to what Hurst has gone through, he's been out 4 weeks now, 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
I know they said he was also on the back to practice participation train today, as was Mike Hilton, as was Cam Taylor-Britt. So,
what about the fact that Tom Brady was 89-0 after being up
at home
17-0?
Yeah.
I don't think it was at home. I think in his career he'd been up 17-0 89 times in his career at home.
At home. Yeah, it said at home.
That's
because the other thing was like he was 159-3 or something like that in his like entire career.
Crazy.
I mean, he's played like 7,000 games.
Did you make anything of the short handshake?
No.
With Joe?
Not at all.
I didn't even think there was a handshake.
And if you watched it, Joe was like talking to one of his like I guess LSU teammates or something, and like Tom Brady like had to like tap him on the shoulder, and he like turned around like, yeah, cool, and then like, he's Tom, I'm Joe. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
is what it is.
I don't know. I didn't put anything into that. I know people. No,
I don't think there was disrespect.
Why is Tom giving him the dead fish and running into the locker room? Because he just got embarrassed.
What else do you
want
to do?
Fans are really looking for something to be like pissed about.
Last week, Tom Brady loses for the first time in his career to a kid making his debut in Brock Purdy, who again looked serviceable this week. And then the next week he comes out. And everybody's like, myself included, I was like, we're catching Tom Brady.
Well, yeah, because he made that comment, right? He made that I'm on to Cincinnati thing.
After getting his butt kicked, we're getting that Tom Brady. And for the better part of the first half, it looked like dang it, like I tweeted it out. I said this is not an ideal start when the division it has been gifted to you on a platter. The division lead has been gifted to you.
We went to bed Saturday night in first place.
Right. And you don't want to give that back. I mean, you started off I know we're like kind of like rolling backwards here. You start off 0-2, you start off 0-3 in the division. And now we're, sitting pretty. I think they said like better than 99% chance to make the playoffs. Like I think it was like a 70% chance to or 68% chance to win the division at this point.
You've won 6 games in a row. You're firing on all cylinders, and even with guys down. I
was going to say, and mind you, this is with some of those games you don't have Jamar. Yeah, so you got like brought in Trenton Irwin and Trent Taylor have been stepping up. Yeah. Then
the next man up mentality has been huge here in Cincinnati.
Then you lose Mixon, and P. Ryan's like, don't worry about it, I got it. He gets out there. Travion Williams has been contributing, and then you have the game last week. You lose.
Hayden Hurst goes down.
You got everybody going down, and your entire receiving core looks like the Bearcats receiving core, just like grabbing anybody that like, hey, have you ever caught a football before? All right, why don't you like move on out there, run a slant or something? Like Joe will find your hands with the ball. Just make sure that you turn around.
Yeah, basically that's true.
So I don't know. It's been we're not accustomed to this feeling at all.
Not at all.
Which is why I think people are putting too much into like the handshake stuff. Like we have nothing to complain about right now and be mad about. So let's be mad about this little tiny thing, right?
You know what I'm mad about? I'm mad that Mitchell Wilcox still hasn't gotten his football back.
I'm upset about that as well. Somebody needs to give that back to him.
I did see that he said he made contact with the guy.
That's good.
And they're
negotiating.
They're working some things out. So.
Oh, did he? Yeah, that's good.
It's one of those things like a couple years ago, maybe even last year, a little bit at the beginning of the season, even this year at the beginning of the season, they go down 17-0 and you're kind of like, you're almost like, man, I don't know about this. Like, this sucks. But I was still like, they've got they got a shot. They've got the weapons. They've got what they need to do. Like, and Lou Anarumo is a magician. Like, he watches a game.
Yeah.
He like watches the first half, and if things aren't going like swimmingly, he's like, all right, I got something for you in the second half. Just wait a minute. Like, I know I have a piecemeal together defense right now. So like I got Alan George is over here, and we just activated him from the practice squad, but we'll make that work. And now we're just going to put all kinds of pressure on Tom Brady. He's going to have nowhere to go with the ball, and we're going to be able to win. I mean, you have to create like that. That's what sucks. Like Lou Anarumo is probably going to be gone next year. He's going to be a head coach somewhere.
I was actually thinking about that today. Like somebody's going to pick him up somewhere, and this is where the Bengals need to. I mean, they've showed, their dedication in the contracts of players. I think this is where we need to show our dedication in the contracts of coaches. I think we need to try to figure a way of keeping that man.
Look, if somebody offers him a head coaching gig,
here's the thing,
not.
I know. Is Aaron frozen?
I think. Oh,
go ahead, Aaron.
No, you got it, Aaron.
I was just going to say, like, we're in a different situation now than we were when Zach Taylor hired Lou Anarumo, right? To where you're not going to be trying to just talk somebody into coming to Cincinnati to play or to coach here. Like, I think this is
starting to become, coach here.
I think this is starting to become a destination spot just due to the fact that they're doing things that have never been done in Cincinnati. So I don't think that hiring a defensive coordinator is going to be such a tall task as it was when Zach brought in Lou Anarumo. The only problem I see is trying to gel this roster with potentially a different scheme defensive coordinator.
I mean, that's always a crapshoot. Like, are you going to bring somebody in who is able to like you? And I think in the NFL, obviously, it's a little bit easier, maybe, and maybe now it is in college too, with the transfer portal and being able to just like move people around and be like, okay, well, you're not going to fit into what I got, so like, maybe go find somewhere else to play, and we'll grab somebody from the portal that fits my scheme better. Like in the NFL, it's a little bit easier, I think, to have somebody come in and you've got the best of the best players in the NFL, so maybe they can kind of move more towards another scheme. But if you need somebody in the NFL, you just got to get them. And to your point, this isn't a place where now you have to go beg somebody,
right?
Like we'll pay you twice what you're worth. Just come be a Bengal. Like it's not like that anymore. I mean, look at Hayden Hurst. Look at the interviews he's had all year, where he's like, "This is home. Like this is what I wanted."
BJ Hill said the same thing when he signed his new contract. Mike Hilton has said it repeatedly since he's gotten here. Awuzie has said the same thing since he got here. Like, this culture is built differently than we've seen any team built in Cincinnati ever.
Well, and Superfan said earlier in the chat, you guys remember Marvin Lewis era? The idea of halftime adjustment was non-existent. I mean, these are polar opposite teams. Yeah, he's right.
But now, never would have done that with. Now, 9 minutes later, he's saying, "Hear me out, Marvin Lewis for defensive coordinator."
Superfan, where you at, buddy?
It's all over the place.
You're all over the board.
I don't know. It's encouraging, and it's a fun time to be a Bengals fan, and I just hope that this continues. Right now, you're looking at the only two teams above you in the AFC being Buffalo and Kansas City. Kansas City,
you obviously have the tiebreaker on one of those teams.
You have the tiebreaker over Kansas City, and you have the opportunity for a tiebreak over Buffalo to end the season, although it is in prime time, and that terrifies me.
Yeah, it hasn't been a start time for that one yet.
I think it's Monday night.
It is. It is a Monday night game.
So
earlier today still said TBD.
They'll probably flex it to like 4:00 on a Monday afternoon, Ed.
Yeah, probably. That seems about right. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
UCF Superfan says he's doing his best two-faced Ed impersonation.
Right.
That's
no, I'm all on board for Wes Miller.
We missed a couple of things here. The Velveeta kid, I believe, was Trenton Irwin. Did a Velveeta commercial when he was growing up, and they always like to bring that up, that he's like a Hollywood kid.
I must have missed that.
What else was it? Oh, he said Lou would be a horrible coach. He should probably just stay. And Nick sarcastically said, "In before Lou goes to Wisconsin as their new defensive coordinator under Luke Fickell."
The Bengals have not picked up Curtis Brooks yet. To my knowledge, he was cut by Indy this week, because why wouldn't you cut a defensive lineman on your practice squad when your entire roster is in shambles? Seems like what they needed to do, but it was done, and we'll see if they end up picking up Curtis Brooks. I think it would be fun to have him back here in Cincinnati, especially with the decimation of the roster and guys stepping up. We'll see.
It's always nice to have somebody that you could go to, and right now the Bengals have at least been able to grab dudes that have been able to come into the
impact guys for sure.
Come in and make plays and play well, which is, you've got to have like that. That's what all like these Super Bowl teams have, right? Like last year we did it by staying healthy all year, and this year we're doing it by like luckily guys that have gotten hurt, we've been able to just be like, look, heal up all the way, and we got some dudes that'll carry the torch while you're over there getting ready to go for the stretch run.
Yeah, a few years ago, if AJ Green would have got hurt, we would just called it our season, right? I mean, okay, that's it. We're done. We got these guys that just. We just got these guys.
Now there is one spot. There is one spot on the field where if somebody goes down, you might as well just go ahead and.
Well, that is true.
Put your clothes in.
I want to say, for all the negativity I had about us not playing the offensive line together at the beginning of the season, they did say during the telecast that this is the no offensive line in the NFL has played as many games together as our offensive line. So there's something to be said for that. I don't know if it's because they didn't play any preseason games, but I know that it's worked out. So
that's an interesting stat.
Anything else you guys have on the Bengals before we switch gears?
No, I mean, if we just go back and look at our sticky note, original sticky note, this game, Jeff had a win and Ed and Aaron had losses. Sticky note 2.0, all three of us had wins. So if we look at the stay at sticky note 2.0, and we look towards the Bills, or I'm sorry, the Patriots, all three of us have a win on that one as well. Bills. Okay, here's where you guys can change if you want. The Bills, Aaron has a win. Jeff and I have losses. Are we sticking with that?
I'm gonna ride it. I'm gonna ride it out.
Ride out the storm.
Yeah, well, I'm not changing nothing.
Okay, sure. All right. And then sticky note 2.0 says that Ed and Jeff have wins against the Ravens, and Aaron has an L against the Ravens. Not changing nothing?
Nope.
Not changing nothing.
Gotcha.
All right. That brings us to this week's lightning round. And the first topic on the board, Tom Browning, Mr. Perfect, at 62 years old, passes away yesterday. RIP Tom Browning. What were your guys' initial thoughts on that?
Just sucks.
Yeah, it sucks.
He's like my brother-in-law. That's like his like number one. Like everybody's got their number one like all-time favorite. So like, yeah, my brother-in-law talks about him like all the time. And
World Series champion in 1990. He was part of the Nasty Boys, right? He wasn't one of the three. No, those were all the relievers, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was Charleston. Yeah,
Dibble. Who's the third?
Myers. Randy Myers. That's the one you always forget.
Oh, every time. Every time.
But what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think about Tom Browning?
Him sitting in the...
I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah, in Chicago, just hanging out with everybody, drinking beer.
Not his perfect game.
No.
Him being like, yo, I'm going to go up here and go sit amongst the fans in full uniform and just like hang out.
And I was looking it up last night. I believe there's only 28 recorded perfect games ever. And 13 have happened since I was born in 1984. There it is. Look at him just having the time of his life up there.
Just chilling.
What a great picture.
Nice, great uniform, by the way.
Can you imagine if this, Chad and I talked about this last night. Can you imagine if this happened nowadays?
Oh, well.
You'd be kicked off a team and indefinitely suspended. People would freak out.
I think they were saying on the radio he was fined $500 for that.
$500. It'd be 500,000 right now.
Freak out if this happened right now.
That's why baseball is not as fun as it used to be.
You also would have to be concerned for your own player safety. Like there would be so many variables that just weren't things that you had to.
Let's be honest. Yeah, if this was now, there'd be a Cubs fan punching him right in the face right there.
in the back
there'd be
of
a drunk ass Cubs fan like, bam.
Yeah. So times they are different, but we'll miss you, Mr. Perfect.
That's 2 weeks in a row we've had a sad start to the lightning round.
Well, I mean that's where you had to start, right?
No, I mean it is. I'm just saying it.
I couldn't remember if I had a Tom Browning baseball sign down here, but I do. That's pretty cool.
Second topic of the night: Mac Jones and the Patriots' epic fail of a game.
To
the Raiders, but Mac Jones in particular, just getting that stiff arm to the face,
just crushed. Somebody tweeted Bailey Zappi wouldn't have let that happen to him.
Certainly the hefty lefty would have never let that happen to him.
Like here's the thing. You see, like as the commander of the offense, you see a guy on your team making a horrible decision with the football, and you realize I'm not getting to that. You've got to at least like run into him before you let him just stand. Like I realize he's a big guy, But like you have to at least run into him, try to disrupt, like, and not
No.
allow him to just like
If
catch
Joe
the
had
ball.
if Joe had tried to make that tackle, I'd have been mad. I mean, we've seen Andy Dalton break a pinky trying to tackle. Wasn't it a pinky that took him out of that game where the playoff game where AJ McCarron
Pinky or thumb,
Your
something like that.
thumb, maybe it was thumb. But yeah, I don't want Joe to try and make.
Hey, you're
a
just
tackle.
letting the game. You're just
Yes.
letting the game go.
Go.
So if that's the Bengals against the Buccaneers this weekend, and that's happening, and first place is on the line in the division, you're just like, nah.
No. I want Joe to hit him.
I'm hoping somebody like DK Metcalf hawks him.
Yeah,
I want Joe to hit him because I know Joe can hit him.
How far was that? That was close to midfield that he
Yeah.
caught that, right?
Yeah.
And you're telling me there's nobody out there
Fast enough.
that can run down a lineman?
Didn't happen. All right, next topic.
I don't know what this one's about.
Have you guys heard about the Chiefaholic?
Yes.
No.
And I think this is hysterical.
So there's a guy who goes to all Chiefs game. He's one of the super fans, right? And he wears a wolf mask. Well, apparently in Kansas City, there has been a rash of bank robberies with a guy wearing a wolf mask. He has been robbing banks in the same outfit that he goes to games with and that he is popular with to fund his
Tailgating,
his tickets
and
to go to the games.
traveling, all of it. Yeah, he's been robbing banks wearing the same mask that he has been doing his. Did you pull him up, Ed?
I have a picture of him. Yeah, if you want me to pull it up.
Yeah.
His bond has been set for $200,000. That's a collectible gurus. There we go. So that is him at a game. Nice sunglasses, all that good stuff. I don't know if it's in here.
Do you have the pictures of him? You don't have the pictures of him at the bank? I've seen those too, where he's wearing the same exact mask, robbing banks.
I think I have him on Twitter. Hold on.
Well, you look for it. We'll keep talking.
That's incredibly stupid.
Agreed. But I think that the next topic's Ed, so we'll skip that until he comes back. Terry McLaurin. Did you see this with Terry McLaurin? Where
you talking about where he checked with the ref?
checked with the ref to make sure, I need to move up.
Oh, I have seen
I'll
that.
move up. He moves up
The ref already had his hand on the flag.
on the flag, ready to throw it.
The entire ending of that game was just an officiating disaster.
Players draped on other players in the end zone as calling it defense, just hanging on them.
Here, okay, wow, that's pretty dumb.
What an idiot.
I mean, it's almost the same hat. Right there he is.
This is from
the red hat.
So Kyle Ayers on Twitter said a lot going on in the world, but everyone take a moment to look up the Chiefs-aholic fan who funded his trips to games by robbing banks in the same mask he wore to the games. I've never been prouder to root for the Chiefs.
And Thrifty Walrus says this dude has robbed banks to watch the Bengals give the Chiefs 3 L's.
That's probably why he kept doing it. He's fallen into a
dark hole,
a really dark place.
Did you think they talked about this on New Heights this week?
No.
Probably not.
Okay. I'll listen in.
So yeah, the Terry McLaurin thing, ridiculous. Like that's what they tell. I mean, that starts in Pee Wee football.
Yeah, you're supposed to check
with the ref. He says you're good to go. You're like, cool, I'm good. And then you stay there. If he says, no, you got to move up, then you move up. If he says, no, you got to move back, you move back.
Yeah.
You do what he tells you. In this case, the official said, move forward, and then put his hand on his flag and was like, got him, coach. And they snapped it and he threw the flag. He threw the flag before the ball was even.
Seen anything like that.
It's the craziest thing ever. And then what? They move back a little bit and they go to throw. I don't even know who the receiver was on the other side that they went to throw to. It might have been him. They might have moved him to the other side. But the defender was like, there was like some hand fighting, which is, I'm okay with allowing a little hand fighting to go. But then the DB is like over
his leg.
He's like over his shoulders, both arms over him. It's like when my kid wants to wants like a ride on my back.
Ride?
Yeah. Jumps up. Like that's what it looked like. I don't care what level of football this is, what league it is. You can't do that. The only time that something like that is like gets like a pass is on a Hail Mary, where it's like 87 dudes
A scrum.
in a
Right.
scrum, and there's no way. I mean, yeah, you could throw a flag and say pass interference, but like they don't. It's just kind of an understood thing. This is not a Hail Mary. This was a legitimate pass out of a legitimate play set, and you just let him run through and maul.
That wasn't even the only DPI in that. Towards the end of that game, the whole thing, crazy. Ed, what you got on Aaron Judge?
This is
So,
funny.
do you guys remember the guy who caught Aaron Judge's 60-second home run ball? And Aaron Judge offered that man $3 million for that home run ball. Well, he decided to take his chances.
He said no, right?
He said no. He said no. I'm not going to take that $3 million. I'm going to take my chances and put this ball in an auction. Well, that auction happened last week or over the weekend, and that ball sold for $1.5 million.
Which is still a good sum of money, but now he's got to pay auction. He's got to pay auction fees, and then obviously the taxes. So, I mean, you cut your profit more than in half, because if you just sold it outright to someone, you're just paying whatever on the money that's coming in, and not the auction house fees, and probably whatever fees they paid somewhere to secure the ball before while it was in there. Like,
dumb.
Now that I think about it, he should have been my bum of the week.
That dude.
That is my bum of the week.
I mean, you could have gone with that one. You could have gone with Chiefs-aholic. You could have gone with.
He was one of them too. Yeah.
Could have gone with the ref who threw the flag on Terry McLaurin.
Yeah.
I think the bum of the week that you have is a collective one.
One last topic, though, here in the lightning round, unless anybody adds anything else. This comes courtesy of UCF Superfan, who wanted to know, of the current Bearcats declared, do you think any of them are day one draft worthy? So you're looking at like Josh Wiley, you're looking at Lenny T, you're looking at both Trey Tucker and Tyler Scott. I believe there were a couple that trickled in today.
Hicks
Javon Hicks, James Tunstall yesterday.
And day one of the draft is what, the first 2 rounds?
Day one is only round one.
One round, yeah.
But it used to be the first 3 rounds. So I'm assuming he meant the first 3 rounds.
If he's still around and wants to clarify, I don't know that any of them are first round guys.
I don't think there's any first round guy.
I don't think that's.
I think Wiley could potentially be.
I think Wiley.
This is not to be mean. There's an equal chance any of the 4 of us get drafted in the first round.
Yeah.
Agreed. I think Wiley, though, is probably the one that I could see going in the first 3 rounds. I don't know that even Trey or Tyler Scott will go in the first 3 rounds.
I think there's a pretty strong chance I could go in the first 3 rounds.
Trey and Tyler will be interesting. If one of them runs like a 4.28 or something crazy.
Yeah.
Like there are those teams out there that like speed.
Miami.
Right?
Yeah.
The Raiders always like. There are teams that will say if you run a 4.28, 4.29, like
we'll find a spot and we're
going to find a spot. Right. Yeah. Other than that, no, I don't think there's anybody.
I could see Wiley in the third. Lenny, the thing that kills Wiley and Lenny is like, I mean, they're gonna have to like really impress at Pro Day because they just didn't get to put a whole lot out. I mean, it's true. It's just it's the facts of the matter. They didn't get to put a lot out there this year. So if they have really great Pro Days and maybe
we disagree here, Jeff. Their percentages say they put as much on tape as pretty much every other tight end in college football.
Okay, that's fair.
They were throwing the ball as much as pretty much everybody else.
Okay, they weren't put on tape as much as I wanted them on tape.
Correct. We all wanted them to get thrown the ball more. But in terms of when comparing
red
them
zone
to their peers, third down, red zone, we talked about this all fucking season.
Okay, so right, so their use case wasn't as ideal for a tight end, I would say.
But what I'm saying is they put as much on tape this year as most every other tight end in the draft.
Okay.
So they're going to be compared accordingly because they were used about as much as anybody else was used. The problem, I think, for UC was there was 2 of them. And most every other team only uses 1 as a primary passing target.
I think that there will be 2. I think they will both be drafted. And I think they will both have.
I think Josh will definitely be drafted. Lenny, I'm not as certain on.
I think Lenny goes in like probably like the.
Either way, they'll both be on teams going into summer camps.
Sure.
And then I think the speed, obviously, of Trey and Tyler will get them. If for whatever, I think they'll both be drafted as well, based solely on their speed. And their ability to, I mean, they're good receivers.
They run at the combine and at pro day.
You think Ivan gets drafted, Jeff?
He hasn't declared yet, right? Does he even have the chance? He could potentially come back still, right?
Yes. UC wants him to come back. Can't confirm. UC would love for Ivan to come back.
I think Ivan might fall into, and I'm going to steal this from Mike Leach, is just that like his measurables aren't like. So Mike Leach talked about like Wes Welker way back when and said like the worst thing about the NFL draft is the NFL for Wes Welker because he's not going to hit measurables. Like I mean he's not a huge imposing force, but he plays like one. So I think he'll land somewhere, and it will be very tough for wherever he lands for those people to get rid of him.
Mike Leach also said the best candy comes from Europe.
And Chad's going to disagree with me here too.
No. I think the concern with Ivan is like, does he get swallowed up because guys are so much bigger in the NFL? Does he get swallowed up by pulling guards and guys that are so much more athletic in the NFL than he saw in college? And I think they will. But the question NFL teams will have is, Ivan's an instinct guy. Like he just has the instincts to get past you and find the guy with the ball, to scrape and have such an ability to understand this is where the ball is going to go. This is where I need to be. Is he met at the point of attack by guys that are just as athletic as him, but they're 6'3", 310 pounds? Ask yourself, and I know this is an extreme case, but if you were grading out, do you think Ivan Pace is going to make plays against Jason Kelce?
Throw him at strong safety. Let him get a full head of steam on somebody before
he doesn't have the speed to play strong safety, and it would be a case where NFL offensive coordinators would be like, this guy,
this one
right here, put the slot. We're isolating coverage. We've got our slot receiver against Ivan Pace if he played safety. So, can Ivan Pace beat the Jason Kelces of the world is what he's going to have to answer in the NFL. And I would pick Jason Kelce. And I love Ivan Pace.
So then what we're all saying here is, Ivan, just come back.
Just come back. It's all good.
All right. Let's do Bum of the Week.
Because you're training like a damn bum, you know that? Bum. A bum. You are a bum. You're a bum. And that's all you'll ever be. A bum.
Well, that hurts, man.
Okay.
Go ahead, Ed.
It's my Bum of the Week.
Oh, all right.
I put it in there.
Fair enough. I think
we all agree with it, yeah.
As quasi Aaron more so than the rest of us quasi members of the media, it does pain me to pick someone in the media, but when you act in the manner that this individual and the other pitchfork carrying Goombas that were with her, Jenna Lane from ESPN decided it was a good idea to not only hound Giovanni Bernard after the game, because we all know what happened in the game. There was a play called, whether it was supposed to be a fake and he didn't know, or it was miscommunication somewhere, whatever. Jenna Lane went into the Buccaneers locker room and went straight after him and just continued to hound him as he was, like, Pat McAfee brought it up today, he was clearly already showered, changed,
dressed,
and appeared to be heading on his way out. Mm-hmm. So maybe he had thought he had given enough time for somebody to come talk to him, whatever. He asked at some point about, like, you know, now you're not talking, because the video that they posted cuts in partway through. That is never a good thing to post, you know.
It's when she realized she was going to get a sound clip. Yeah.
Correct. When she realized that what she was participating in was going to be something that she could maybe go viral for, she started filming.
She sure did.
And maybe she filmed more.
Not for the reasons I think she wanted to go viral.
But cut off the beginning part.
It's so gross.
And the way that you attack an individual that has done what Giovanni Bernard has done in the NFL, we all know that when Gio got here, see that, and that's the other thing that she screwed up on is you know, from what I can understand, Buccaneers fans have all grown to love Gio. Bengals fans all still love Gio. So you ain't gonna attack him the way that and treat him the way that you treated him in the locker room and not get the blowback that she's getting. And it is incredible because it's coming from everywhere. And she thought she was going to get a posted video and it was going to be awesome. And people were going to be like, yeah, he's running away. No, he's not. Sorry. You are acting like a petulant child and it's ridiculous and you need to stop.
Isn't this very similar to the guy that showed up from Louisville at the Satterfield press conference and was trying to...
I did a Google search to see if they were related.
Everybody is trying to hit this, like, I love you, Ed. I really do. I give you shit, but just know I love you. Everybody's trying to hit this, like, 30-second clip that makes them go viral. Like, that's the thing now. Right? Yeah. Like, that's what we have become as a...
viral community.
No, a content
social media culture.
That, like, this is what we consume. We consume 30-second clips of, like, oh, that was hilarious. Ooh, I don't know about that. Ooh, that was hilarious. Ooh, I don't know about that. Like, I could go through, like, 7 things I saw on TikTok today that were, like, designed for that. Like, that is, like, the path to going viral.
It is.
And that's exactly what she was doing. She was trying to get him to, like, say something that gave her 30 seconds of fame.
And instead, she still went ahead and posted it, and she's getting blasted for it. And she's like, note, because, you know, she goes through it.
Jeff.
Here's the interaction. As reporters, it's our job to seek clarity on what happened, especially in the most pivotal part of the game. If that's the case, then what you do is you write up, ask Giovanni Bernard about the fake punt, not punt, whatever. He stated there was a miscommunication. It was all on him. It was his fault. He took ownership of the moment, and you report that. You don't put a video up trying to make him look bad, and in fact, you're making yourself look like an idiot.
So what we learned 3 years ago when Joel DeBlanco ran the fake punt against TCU that caused all that shit.
Oh, yeah.
There are certain, in punt coverage, there are certain things that are like triggers. If we see this, then the automatic trigger is that. And I think Gio just missed, like, the automatic trigger. Like, there was something the Bengals showed that Tampa automatically, like, the center is trained. If I see this certain thing, then I snap the ball to Gio, and Gio runs it for a first down. Gio obviously wasn't set at that point, and the snap was up around his, like, his temple.
Yeah.
So he didn't have his hands up, and the ball went where it, like, if you'd have snapped it at his chest, he would have got his hands up, caught it, and, like, figured it out.
It went to no man's land.
Right. So, like, I think there was definitely a trigger that happened from what the Bengals were doing that the Bucs special teams recognized and, like, tried to run the fake. If he would have caught it and took off, he had a first down. It was easy. But I just don't think he saw it.
I think, in your defense, Chad, what the Louisville guy did and what she did are perfect examples of why you guys can't ask the questions that we have on Twitter in press conferences. Like,
well, that's me mocking people that are like, ask my question, ask him the question.
But it's why it's the exact reason why we can't ask those questions. Like, us as fans would love to ask those questions, but you can't do it.
Well, you also want to build relationships with the players so you can ask them hard questions on different terms, like when you're writing something good or when
you have a good story to write or a good question to ask.
And to continually
that, like, you're not going to be able to go back and do the good story that you had.
No, Gio's never talking to that reporter again.
Like to continually also be like, well, you've been injured all year. What have you done all year? We would have talked to you if you'd done something, but you've been injured. Like,
did she hound Tom Brady on the 4 interceptions?
They did ask Brady in his press conference, like, about the 4 turnovers. So they did do that.
All right, then. She didn't record that. But
in the locker room, it's a press conference. Tom Brady is a press conference, right? Yeah. He's at the table with the microphone. Gio Bernard gets open locker room where they ambushed him, essentially.
Yeah, and surrounded. And, like, if you watch the clip, the best part is the sound guy in the back who's like, this is not it. Yeah, this is not what we need to be doing. So it was.
I did ask John Cunningham about the North Carolina.
You asked him that on the
podcast. Did ask him that when we had him on
last week.
Last week. I asked him that question.
Conversation.
Thrifty Walrus.
So not so much of a gross travesty now, is it, Thrifty?
For those listening, Thrifty Walrus said it's a gross travesty. The Bearcat Journal hasn't asked John Cunningham if he is attracted to the North Carolinian accent. We must ask the hard-hitting questions.
I did.
I think Chad's exact words are, do you realize you have a thing for North Carolina?
You have a thing for guys from North Carolina. Yeah, I asked him that. I did.
On that note, though, we're going to wrap it up. That was another episode of Pardon the Punctuation.
They say I don't ask the hard-hitting questions.
For my co-hosts, Ed Mayhall and Jeff Howell, and for Chad popping in, this was Pardon the Punctuation. We'll see you next week, 9:15. See ya!
Bye.